Holy penultimate episodes!
With pure chaos.
This is
chaos.
Flight Check, Season 5, Episode 33. We're back once again, talking all aspects of FlyQuest as I frantically realized that I failed to adjust Nox's camera perfectly, and am now making his head proportionally bigger with the rest of ours as he starts moving around, preventing me from getting an accurate idea that this is the real reason why the show is ending, because the creative process, the collaboration is just I can't handle it anymore.
It's all falling off.
Down.
Yeah,
it's broken down. I'm out here like fighting Steam and my camera to even be ready.
Right.
He's moving around like
it's all over. It's you know what else is all over?
It's all over for KT Roll.
You stole my line, basically. I was gonna do it's all over for League of Legends for the 2025 year, but
hear me out, Sam.
Too.
So there's a very few couple episodes where I used to host this show. And
yes.
For the rest of the time, it's been mainly you. But have we ever truly given Curly the chance to host one time?
Whoa!
I'm doing this impromptu. I'm not
unironically. Unironically, I'm here for this.
Should we give Curly one episode?
This is like an April Fool's episode right here.
Oh my
Curly,
God.
You know what I'll do right now?
Handing me the reins? Okay.
I will send you the form of words that I use every week, and you can start the show right now.
Oh man. Oh man. Okay.
Hang on.
This is crazy. I'm waiting. All right.
We did not talk about this beforehand, by the way. I'm throwing this completely impromptu without Curly or Sandy being prepared for this.
I'm just gonna feed Curly his lines.
This is great. Absolutely.
Just don't read it verbatim because it says my name is Sandy Toes. So you know.
Yes, of course.
All right. New show starting now.
Holy penultimate episodes. This is Flight Check, Season 5. Episode 32. We're back once again talking all aspects of FlyQuest. My name, as always, is Curly QQ, and to my right and my extra right, my fellow hosts Noxtwar and Sandy Toes. Fellas, you know, as we mentioned here, the pod is going to be ending, but the thing that ended before us is League of Legends 2025 season. It was a crazy, crazy world. It all kind of happened in a blur, but before we get into that, how are you guys doing? How was your weekend? Did anyone stay up all night crazy like me for Worlds, or did you guys go live your normal lives as adults?
I did not stay up, mainly because Friday night I got the COVID and flu booster shots at the same time.
Double whammy.
And so
Yikes.
I woke up Saturday morning feeling okay. I was out and about, and then right around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it just all hit me, and I was not moving very much for the rest of the day. So staying up or getting up at 3 in the morning was absolutely out of the question.
Yeah, 100%.
So I missed literally all of finals. I will go back and watch it. I have tomorrow off, so that might be what I spend part of my day doing. Nox, how about you?
You know, you might have been slipped, but like you might have been sleeping, but much like Gwen, you are now immune. Nox, how about you? Did you watch? Did you watch World's Finals? What you got up to this weekend?
What's crazy, Nox, is that the power of hosting duties, it does also transfer over the dad jokes and puns.
It does, actually. I did not realize that was how it worked. We're gonna have to go back. Did I make any dumb dad joke puns back then?
I don't know.
Anyway,
probably not.
We'll review it next week. We'll see. No, I was unfortunately down in Aggie Land, this past weekend, supporting my stepsister in her dance routine that she was doing. And so we were out very, very late, and I got back just in time for Game 1 to start. I watched Game 1, and then I just was like, I could tell the series was going to go long, and I wasn't staying up for it. So I crashed. I saw Game 1, and I woke up the next morning. I thought it was just going to be almost like a 3-1 or something, but no, that went the whole distance, and I watched the highlights. It seemed like a banger series, and
Boy,
T1 got the repeat. Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah. I mean, here's the thing: is you watched one game and you got the same result as if you watched 5 games. So you speed ran those 5. Very, very proud of you, Knox.
I was gonna say, because both of you were cheering for T1, right?
I wasn't
Or,
cheering for
KT,
T1.
I was
sorry.
cheering for KT, but if you saw the show last week, we did discuss that the narratives were very good on both sides of the rift, I felt.
Yeah. I think it's funny because I was rooting for KT. I really, really wanted KT to win it all, and when I made pick'ems for my bracket stage, I actually when we made pick'em, talked about it at the beginning of this, I said that T1, if they make it out of play-ins, they're gonna win Worlds, and so of course when it came to the bracket stage, I said they're gonna win Worlds, and that got me second place in all of my leaderboards. So thank you to you two for. For kind of picking, getting excited for KT and giving me second place on our particular leaderboard. But to get really kind of into it, let's kind of talk about Worlds Finals really quick. Let's just see what went down. So, Sunday morning, or evening if you're over in Chengdu, KT Rolster, T1, the Telecom Wars renewed. And it is kind of the biggest layup for a really, really good finals, with everyone very excited on both sides. Faker looking for his 6, T1 looking for the 3P, KT Rolster looking to break the shackles of themselves, as they have never gone this far, and they could have gone all the way. From what you did see, Nox, talk to me about how you felt about the first game.
I mean, KT started off strong, right? They had 4 or 5 kills and to T1's 1, but it's just that one dragon fight. And I noticed this throughout the highlights of the rest of the series too, right? It's just the fights around objectives. T1 is just so stupidly good at, man. They truly understand what they need to do to win fights. And so I think from there, I mean, you just have to give T1 an even playing field, because the thing is, they make it in their favor at any major objective fight. And so the rest of the game, if they can catch up to be even, then they know how to push it from there. And it's so hard to win against that team, man. It's ridiculous. Even if Doran is inting it a little bit.
Sandy, I know you didn't watch anything, but have you been able to view any highlights so far, or see some of the spectacle online?
I did catch a clip, and it wasn't so much a clip. It was the clip of the final team fight that Gumayushi popped off on. What I'm going to say about it, though, is actually what was so interesting, because it was a clip that was showing the casters. And normally, in my head, I imagine the casters being very, animated and whatnot, because, it sounds like they're yelling and saying, the most intense stuff. Mm-hmm. But, the whole time, Dracos is just standing there with his hands folded, going, T1 will do it again and again. And again, and he's just completely stoic, and Kobe's saying the most incredible line, and he's just and T1 is doing it, and they will ace them all. There's no emotion on their face whatsoever. It's so interesting that they don't break that the entire time. But no, that was the only clip I saw. The only other thing I saw was that Uzi presented the MVP fittingly to Gumayushi. That was pretty cool to see. But no, I missed all of World's Finals, and so I don't really have much to say about it. So,
well, it's all right. We only really need to touch on it, so I'll fill in some blanks, as I tiredly made my way through all of it, and to some regret, because I made a few mistakes, right? So, game 1, I tuned in a little late because daylight saving times kind of screw me, but I watched T1 win it. Fine. All right, we get into game 2. I'm thinking this draft is spicy overall, and then as I watch it, the game unfold, Perfect and Cuz, and then BDD were just doing some crazy things, and then Peter and Perfect pissed me off for a summary of the whole series, because I'm gonna be honest, when they won, they were doing it all, and when they lost, they were doing all of the losing, and it kind of hurt my soul to watch them. But games 2 and 3 were serious bangers, and what I will tell you about every match is no matter it always looked so tense at certain moments, and then there was always some, it's all right, clearly this team is winning the game, right? And then doesn't matter which match it was, the losing team pulls off something crazy, and you're all right, here we go again. Like, that is just the beauty of how good this gameplay was on like both sides for most matches. So games 2 and 3, very, very hype for KT, especially Mundo, by the way, 100%. Mundo is a crazy thing. I don't know if you guys knew this, but it has
He
a
goes where he
100% win rate.
pleases.
He goes where he pleases, 100% win rate at Worlds.
Yeah.
Barely crossed the line to be the crystal ball pick, because you have to have it played 5 times.
5 games.
Played
Okay.
5 times, and it won every single time. And I swear, if there's a single person out there that put Mundo in their crystal ball, I need to talk to you and find out like just what tuned you into the universe to make that selection.
all Eloise fans. That's who.
Fair. But yeah, so then games 2, 3, real hype for KT Rolster, and then I need to apologize to the public for this. I was really hoping that KT Rolster would win game 4 because I wanted sleep and I wanted some tea, and so I spoke it into existence in our Discord, where I said I was quietly believing that KT Rolster would win game 4 so that my tea would not be in vain. My tea was in vain, and so was my hype, and I lost Worlds for KT Rolster as we watched 2 heartbreaking games, and then okay, guys,
that's tough.
I want to talk about this draft for the last one, because like I know you guys didn't watch it.
Well,
look,
I'm happy to commentate on a draft that I did not, watch the game for. So
sure, yeah. So let's pull it up here. We've got. Actually, you know what? Let me get into the pick order, because the pick order is what really, really makes it. Because this is how you know T1 is like locked in to win this thing. All right.
Which game was this? Game
5.
Game 5 draft. Okay.
Yes. So we start the Bard, the Azir. So Bard banned by KT, Azir banned by T1 because they know BDD is good on him. Draven banned by KT Rolster, Orianna. So they're really targeting BDD right now, whereas KT just kind of has to spot pick the whole of T1, and then they ban Ornn, and then bam, third one, another ban on BDD of Yone. So that's all round 1, 2, 3 bans go against BDD. Like, that is just how much of a linchpin he is for KT Rolster. So then, okay, Ziggs. That's their round 1. That's the blue side pick 1, right? How do you feel about that?
I am not a big Ziggs fan in general. Like, I know it's a big APA champ. I know we see it in NA a lot. Well, a lot is a strong term. It pops up a little bit more in NA than I might see it in other regions. I just don't love the pick.
Yeah.
Personally.
Knox, how about you?
So, I mean, you have to keep in mind, you have 8 AD carries that are no longer able to be picked. And then you had an additional 1 banned in the Draven. And then you take away the Ziggs. So at this point, you're trying to force Guma onto like one of these like main 80 carry bands, or one of these like last remaining 80 carry picks. And even then, it's very like I think KT's actually kind of smart with it when T1 does not pick an 80 carry first round. Like, it's like, okay, we're going to continue to hammer Guma. Like, we're going to ban the Kai'Sa. We're going to ban the Jhin.
Yep.
He gets forced on the Misfortune, which, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. He played it amazingly, right? But the champion is very hard to play currently. So I didn't really mind it too much. I know everyone wants to put their 80 carry on an actual 80 carry. I don't think Doctum was doing anything overly insane in terms of 80 carry skill this series, as well throughout the general of the tournament. Like, he was playing good. Like, I don't want to take that away from him. He was playing good, but there was no elite level of 80 carry play that he was displaying. So I think, honestly, the Ziggs pick is fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so let's keep the draft going, because, and I want to touch on the MF, because the 3 champions that I'm about to talk about, I think, lay up the MF to look as good as she did. You have the T1 first pick, Pantheon, and Galio. 2 global dive alts that are like, hey, we're at the team fight. And Faker's Galio. It has a legacy. it's been pulled out like so few times, and it has such a good win rate, and it always looks amazing.
And he won on it last year in Game 5 as well.
I mean, when I saw the tweet, I woke up at around 7:30 Sunday morning, and I saw the tweet, some person's tweet about Galio, Game 5 Galio for Faker. In my head, I immediately went, well, yeah, T1 probably won that game. They probably won the whole thing with that.
Yep. So then they finish out blue pick, the Yorick Nautilus, which I really don't know how I feel about either of these. I don't know what the Yorick's doing here. And then T1 answer with Camille. So before we even bother with the bot lane, T1's like solo champs terrify me as a combination. I don't know about you guys, but it feels like a very like subjugating, like, hey, you are going to get collapsed on setup. Like it, and then the fact that they rounded it out with MF and Leona, it's like any 2 to 3 of these champions together, if you are a lone champion, like you're getting jumped. You can't escape. I can't like see any way that you make it out of that. And then you get to the whole team fighting factor, which they just kept winning again and again and again and again. Every time there was a major fight, it was crazy. So
yeah,
really, really good drafting from T1 over there.
And I'm looking to see what was available. Man, I just
So
I have questions for. There's so many interesting what ifs here because like.
Yep.
KT takes the Ziggs like right away, yeah, and then they later go on to ban the Kai'Sa and Jhin. God, I wish they had just taken the Kai'Sa themselves. I
agree.
And also my thought the Yorick, head... like the Ornn was like if they want, like they could have taken the Kai'Sa themselves or they could have waited. They blinded the Yorick.
Yeah.
And Doran gets to counter with the Camille after they had banned the Ornn in the first round, in the first set of bans. Just if you're gonna blind top lane, just don't ban the Ornn and take it.
Seriously.
At that point, in a best of 5. What do you think, Nox?
So the B1 Ziggs immediately starts screaming that you're aiming for a more macro based game, right? So the B2 York is my opinion, like that's just the immediate follow up, right? Ziggs is so hard to push waves in against because of his E, his Q, like the wave clear that he has, and then you have a York that's wanting to split push the entire time. It's just wanting to drag T1 all over the map. Especially after you see a Pantheon R1, right? And the Galio R2. Like this, you can tell it's like T1 wants to team fight. T1 wants to dive. If we can keep them split up, having to focus on other parts of the map, that's just taking away from what their comp wants to do. Like that's what they're going to want to build out. So for me, I understand what they're going for. I really, believe it or not, I think my biggest gripe with this comp so far is the Nautilus. I don't have an issue with the Ziggs. I don't have an issue with the York. I think the problem here is the Nautilus. You don't have a support that is going to help facilitate this York or the Ziggs being able to split push or being able to wave clear continually, so on and so forth. Or in this case, when the Smolder comes online, like I feel like this basically needed to be an Enchantress support of some sort. That's what I feel like this should have been. It was Nautilus. You're not aiming for the team fights here. You're aiming to split T1 around the map, make them like struggle to figure out what they need to do, and then you build a wallet difference. That's what this should have been. And the reality is, I don't think the Nautilus was able to do anything this game, and it was just team fights aren't what KT's known for, and that's exactly what happened for T1. Is they just completely bullied Perfect in the top lane. They got a massive lead in that aspect, and they continue to just bully KT throughout the rest of the game, and then they closed it out from there. So I mean, yeah, like ideally you want stronger champions for your players than what Ziggs and York offers. But I think for the kind of game that KT wanted to play, the champions make sense. What doesn't make sense for me is the Nautilus. It's not cohesive with the other two.
Yep. Yeah, it's just interesting drafts from KT overall. I think I'm hesitant to say that some games are won before you're even on the Rift, but this might be a case where between the waning spirit of KT and the mastermind drafting from T1, with some questionable drafting on KT, it just kind of cemented the inevitability of T1 winning Worlds. Dread it, run from it. T1 is always there at the end of the road, and they are now the first ever team organization to win 3 Worlds Championships in a row, which is absolutely insane. Absolutely.
Does this change y'all's mindsets about T1 at all? Is it a new, different mindset at all with them having a 3P, or is it just the same old, they're still the GOAT team?
I think they're still the GOAT team. I actually had a... Well, go ahead, Curly.
I have a spicy take of it's kind of bland to me. Like, their legacy is boring.
Like,
they're becoming the New York Yankees of League?
Maybe. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel as hype. I felt hype the last 2 times T1 won.
It was kind of like the return to form in that way.
Yeah. But even with this, they kind of they had a rocky season, and then Worlds happened, and bam, locked in. Like, they even barely made it to bracket, but once bracket came, they're gonna win everything. But for whatever reason, I don't know. I found it kind of underwhelming this time, which is weird. And I think I'm gonna be honest. I think half of it has to do. I'm not gonna get into this too much because I know you guys didn't watch it, but the trophy ceremony was kind of weird compared to previous ones.
What happened? No, talk to me. What happened?
I didn't watch the trophy ceremony.
When I say kind of weird, is it's just the pacing was very slow. It seemed like the players were uncertain of when they were supposed to do what they were supposed to do. The trophy lifting, just occurred so many times in a very random sequence. Like, the amount of times that the whole team is like, oh, now we got a coach in here. Oh, we got another coach in here. Oh, now we it's just kind of, I know you got to get all your photo ops, but the way it was handled was just so strange. And I think another thing is it was just, I don't know, it didn't feel choreographed like previous ones, because you choreograph a trophy ceremony. It's like, all right, you win, you go do this, you lift it, you do that. These people comes out. You just do the loose sequencing. It felt like they didn't know when they should go anywhere. And I think a lot of that has to do with the actual stage itself. Because I think she deleted the post, but Lore said something about the production and in French. And so I saw the quote of it, but I'm not well versed in my French enough. So I think it was a mild joking critique of how the in-person experience didn't quite live up to how epic it looked. I don't know. I don't want to assume things, so please don't put any flame her way if I'm just misinterpreting it. But I think that stage isn't welcoming to actually knowing audibly where you are, if that makes sense. What you should be doing, responding to the environment you're in. And so I think that contributes to it, because they kind of sauntered down very slowly and hesitantly. So that was just the thing for me, is it just didn't feel well choreographed. It didn't feel as exciting. And actually, that's the other thing, is the players didn't look as excited that they had won. They just are yeah, we won. This is what was going to happen. Here we are.
It'd be one of those, I'm sure Doran would have been excited if he hadn't been running it down in Game 5. He probably felt terrible.
And that being said, that's something I have to commend. A clip I saw in Game 5 of his horseplay, of him going too far for no reason and giving every possible leash to KT. No one on T1 gets mad at him. They're like, hey, it's all right. We'll go to the next play. And that's really good mentality to have in crucial moments and as teammates. And I think it is, if they're able to act like that in the most high pressure only game that matters anymore for this entire season moments, and then that kind of proves I don't know how they have these rocky seasons to get here, but they must do them to iron out anything that isn't this energy. And it's really commendable. So I will at the end of it all, T1's legacy is cemented. Congratulations to Faker for achieving the same feat in both your prime and Chovy's prime.
Oh my! Oh,
You
had to do it
really
to him.
are. Absolutely, I did. I mean, it's out there. You know, I see it every day. In Faker's prime, he won 3 championships. In Chovy's prime, Faker won 3 championships. It's just what it is. And I don't know if you saw the trophy graph. He was the whole graph. It's crazy. He's just won too much. But congratulations, Faker. Congratulations, T1. Let's move on to a more open-ended discussion. A lot of roster mayhem going on right now as we're finding more bits and pieces of who's coming and going from FlyQuest, who's going across the sea, who's coming over here. We've got like some more Lion rumors. It's kind of all over the place, and I'm gonna need your guys' help sorting it out because I don't have every single move up in front of me. So, of the news you guys have seen in the last week or so, Knox, hit me first. What are your 2-3 most like notable moves?
in the past week, so let's see here, because I have the list up. I think. I mean, should I just hit the big one out of the way, or should I pick one that's not the big one?
Well, if we can, I would like to save the
anything FlyQuest. Like we'll put at the end.
Yeah, I'd like to save the FlyQuest stuff for later. So let's do the non-FlyQuest stuff first.
I would say the big one then is Loki making the decision to not play next year.
Right.
I think that is probably the biggest one. Cloud9 had no intentions of.
Is he not playing, or is he just, I have to go back to Korea?
I guess there's a world where he could play on an LCK team, but I'm
sure there's some bottom 5 LCK team that would happily take him, but
yeah, I guess the way I interpreted it was it sounded like he needed to take care of family, which means like I don't think you have a lot of time to practice, right? Yeah, so I'm granted, I may be reading into it too much. There's nothing confirming that he's not playing next year in Korea, but I took it as he's not playing next year, which is why he decided to leave. Period.
Yeah.
So I think for me that's the biggest news of the past week. Cloud9 was not prepped for that, right?
No.
Everything I've heard behind the scenes is Cloud9 was scrambling to like figure out what to do.
Well, Cloud9 certainly did not plan ahead. So,
someone believes in C9 APA.
Cloud9, you always need to plan ahead. So, that's just my take on the situation.
Is that your take or what you want? Like, who do you want for Cloud9?
Who do I want for Cloud9?
I mean,
Dog, I don't even know.
Open.
Like, I'm trying to think about, like, who's even out there. And, like, in terms of NA mid-talent, the pool is small. So you're looking at importing from Korea or you're importing from Europe. There's a chunk of ERL mid laners out there that you could pick from. Are they going to be good? I don't know. And then, like, with Korea, it really does suck that, like, Loki's not playing because you're starting from scratch all over again with, like, okay, gotta teach this guy basic English, gotta get him comfortable. Gotta hope he's not, like, having a terrible time all over again and doesn't boomerang right back to Korea at the end of the year. So, I don't even know. Like, I think at this point, with Quad not leaving FlyQuest, most likely, Quid to TL, Saint staying on Lion, I'm willing to bet Disguised is keeping Darkwings. Nox, I don't remember. You posted like a list earlier this week of where you think, like, what all the rumors are for every team. I'm gonna try to go back.
You've been dropping the rumors in our roster.
Yeah, I mean, it's just in the roster Rumble channel, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm scrolling back to try to find. Oh, here it is. Okay, so.
Oh, granted, some of those were just like my thoughts, not necessarily.
Right. Yeah, So like your November 7th post. So we don't know Sentinel's mid laner. Palafox is out there. APA is out there. Quid and Saint are spoken for. Darkwing's probably staying on Disguised, if I had to guess. I don't see them moving off of him.
I feel like I could see like Sentinels picking up Palafox. I don't know why. I have no like. It's purely vibes on this, but I'm like Sentinels Palafox. It has a certain ring to it.
Yeah, sure.
For whatever reason.
I don't know. I think Cloud9 cooks and goes with an ERL mid laner. I think that's what they do.
Okay.
Just
someone find Takui. Bring him back.
I gotta go look at
no, I'm sorry, no. Okay. I don't think that. I think they go with APA, but I would prefer that they cook and go with an ERL mid laner. In fact,
okay,
I'm not gonna lie. I know APA is gonna wind up on some team. I would, if I was a GM, I would try to go with an ERL mid laner before I go to APA. That's just my personal take on it.
Maybe. C9 has some other choices that they need to make as Reaper is leaving over for Carmen Corp.
Carmen Corp, which has a fascinating roster. Can I talk about it for a bit? This is going to get into
I think we should lay this up because K-Corp right now is the most interesting roster in the entire season.
Reaper's over there now. Kana and Yike staying there.
Mm-hmm.
Kalist staying.
DRX mid laner. Kiahu.
Who?
Omegalol. Coming in for mid lane. Now, here's what I'm going to say about Kiahu coming in. He was on the worst DRX roster. Like, truly a despicable, awful roster. I'm pulling up his... he was on DRX this year. They were not... they went 9-21. This was a roster with Rich, Sponge, Teddy, and Ondil. They were not DN Freaks level of bad. Like, they went 9-21. They were in Rise Group. He was fine. I suspect he'll... But, this is LCK, where, like, he's going up against Showmaker, Faker, Chovy, BDD. It's hard to make yourself stand out when that's the quality of talent. I suspect he's going to look good in EU. Sneakily. Now, the final piece of this K-Corp puzzle... FlyQuest Busio heading to K-Corp.
Oh boy.
And at this point, I guess we have to talk about it. We can get to the other stuff. I would like to, but like...
Nah, I mean, we've kind of touched a little bit on some of the other interesting rabble going around, but like, we're a FlyQuest podcast. We got to talk about where everyone is going.
Yeah.
And I think the announcement that Busio is going to Carmen Corp was an absolute atom bomb.
Yeah.
Came out of left field. No one saw it coming. And anything leading up to that moment, like talking about him going over to K-Corp, like it was like within a day or two where people were like, hey, he could have European residency if he wanted to. I don't know why we suddenly started talking about it, but then suddenly, bam, he's listed as Polish, like, because he's got the dual citizenship, but he's like now an EU resident, and he's on K-Corp. It's all announced within a few days, and it's like, how did it just spiraled so quickly?
Right.
And really kind of like was the first, it wasn't the first bit of news, but it was the most shocking bit of news. Or maybe it was first. Let me get my timeline. No, yeah, it was the first bit of news about the fate of this year's roster for FlyQuest. Unless, of course, I don't know if we talked about Whippo, but we can move on from that.
We were all speculating.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
But yeah,
I have my thoughts about this, but Nox, I know, Sandy, you were laying this up, but I want to get to Nox quick. How did you perceive this all, and how do you feel about Busio being the first major announcement of the departure from FlyQuest?
So there's two big things that I want to talk about with Busio being gone. First is I actually think this is worse for the region than losing JoJo. I think as much as losing JoJo hurt, because I mean, he was this huge prodigy in the mid lane. He was a mid lane player. We really, I mean, are importing mids as it is anyway. But we don't really import a lot of supports. And the problem is our actual support system down in North America, tier 2, is non-existent. This is probably the one that's going to hurt us the most. Like, our supports are just not anywhere near the level of what's needed to actually be proven on the world stage or international stage right now. So losing the best support in North America right now to Europe, that just is unbelievably, like, irrecoverably damaging. So that really, really hurts. However, I actually really do think this is good for Busio's career. It's the biggest. I don't know if it's the biggest org in Europe. Like, I just know their fan base is massive, right? But like, I think it's just good for his career. He's going to be making more money probably. He's going to have more fans. He's going to have more eyes on him. I think he's going to have better support system. Yeah. I don't see a world where this is really bad for Busio. I really respect it. However, I've been getting some flack from various individuals, like not like bad flack or anything, just kind of people disagreeing with me.
Okay.
But I don't agree with the fact that Riot is allowing him to be a domestic player, so to speak, because he has dual citizenship. I don't agree with this. Does he have dual citizenship? Yes, that's awesome, cool. My issue with it comes to the fact that he's played in North America for the past 2 years. That means that technically for the past 2 years, he's been a Europe and North American free agent every single time. Just because no one capitalized on it doesn't mean that it's not true. Why, like,
yeah.
For me, that just doesn't seem right to me in my head. He's played in North America for 2 years. That makes him a North American player. You can't just up and switch because he suddenly now chooses to utilize his dual citizenship.
This sounds to me, and I am not well versed in it, but I know there's very rules lawyering that goes on in FIFA to get certain nations, like players, to play for certain nations in the World Cup.
Right.
So it sounds
this happens
like
with the Olympics
like
too.
Yeah. Things like that. So unfortunately, when it comes to international affairs like that, the subjectivity of citizenship and representation of where you're from, it's really kind of hard to work around. And so it's something that we're now really, if you think about it, we first were kind of teased this with Yuji, because coming from Mongolia, there wasn't an actual home region for him.
It should have been China, but we're going to ignore that fact.
Fair. Completely fair. But because of how Riot worked things, there was no real region for them. And so I feel like that was the domino, not even a domino, but like a minor precedent that allowed for this to happen. Sandy, how about you? How are you feeling about kind of just the loss for NA, the benefit for Busio going to, even if they're not the largest, definitely one of the most notorious orgs out there with a major diehard fan base.
Yeah, the blue wall.
Maybe if you want to, the blue wall. And if you want to get into it, even the kind of asterisk of how that it was even allowed.
Right. I echo Nox's sentiments in that I do think this is a bigger loss for North America than JoJo was. Only in the sense of that, like, JoJo was like the prince that was promised.
Yep.
In mid lane, and then never really lived up to it that much. Like, he was always good, don't get me wrong, but he never dominated the league like people thought he was going to.
Okay.
Busio has dominated in North America for the last 2 years, really. And I think losing him right as he's, like, hitting peak is really bad for brand. It's really bad for competitiveness. And it's bad for, like, and don't get me wrong, this is great for Busio. This is an incredible move for him. Like, he did the smart thing. He got the right offer with a very visible team to a region that let's be honest, is probably going to be more competitive in the future. Like, NA probably is going to be seeing some hard times internationally now that the Giga squad of FlyQuest is no more. We all saw how 100 Thieves did at Worlds. And how previous years have gone if your team's not called FlyQuest. So, he made the right call for himself, but it's definitely going to damage the league's ability to compete internationally, put together the strongest teams, brand its players. Now you've got to, you've either got to focus in more on pre-existing players. And the thing was, Buzio had a great personality. He was an easy interview. Like, I love Masu as a player, but as a personality, he's not really available.
He's a little more reserved, for sure.
He's more reserved. Yeah. And, there's nothing wrong with being reserved. But it's not the branding that the league needs. So, I don't know. I'm sad for the league. I'm happy for Buzio. I think he made the right call for himself. It just sucks that it had to happen. So, yeah, that's my take on it.
Well,
and look, I'm going to be in the same way that I was rooting for Jojo to do really well in Europe. I'm going to be rooting for Buzio to do really well. I want to see these guys succeed. It's harder now for me to root against these European teams when there's a prominent North American player on them. So
we're gonna.
It's interesting you mentioned that because this seems to be kind of a trend here. The number one export of North America is our players to Europe.
Right.
We've kind of established an interesting new pipeline because this isn't the first time it's happened. We've got Jojo Pion over there. We've got now Buzio over there, and then we've even had Yukino. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's time to do.
It's time to duel.
It's time. Apparently, it's a very. This was a hot topic over a couple days after Buzio leaving and Yukino talking about how he had a much better time over in EU. This interesting trend where we are now producing players, or at least watching the players that were in limbo in T2, or now a couple of tier 1 players go over to EU. And I believe wasn't Cody over there or Cody's son over there for a while too?
He was. He did not go anywhere, but yeah.
And so it's how do you, Nox, how did this happen? And how do we feel it's affecting the future of the Western leagues?
I think just behind the scenes, and I mean, you're kind of starting to see it on Twitter a little bit too, right? People behind the scenes are starting to just push players to go to Europe. You're going to have better support systems there. You're going to have better competition there. You're going to have more fans there. It's becoming harder and harder to justify for good North American players to stay here in North America, right? Because you're not going to get the training that you need. You're not going to get paid as well, probably. I mean, I understand that generally the top-end North American orgs are still paying more than what the European orgs are paying. But if you're not on one of the top American orgs, you're probably actually making about the same, if not less than what other European orgs are paying. So at that point, if you're going to get paid the same, you may as well go over there, have bigger fandoms watching you, on top of better practice schedules for you, better support systems supporting you. I kind of understand. So what's going to end up eventually happening is kind of what's happened in the CS scene, where there's not really any North American CS anymore. You have 2 orgs that are kind of involved, but they're at the very bottom of the food chain. They only run a couple American players at best. It's just other up-and-coming European players that are just trying to find a team somewhere. And the reality is most North American CS fans cheer on European teams that have their North American players that they want to cheer for on them. That's what's going to end up happening here in League if Riot and the teams in North America don't get their shit together and start figuring out ways to make the league actually viewable, watchable, enjoyable, sustainable, so on and so forth. So that's what's going to happen.
Sandy, how do you feel about the future And how do we start making homegrown talent again? Rebuild our system.
I mean,
that's a deep philosophical question you're asking there.
I mean, I'll try to sum it up. Really
I want abstract notes because I'm sure we could have a whole week-long debate of every little niche of what we could do to fix NA.
Right.
In fact, I'm sure that there's going to be 5 of those kinds of podcasts in the sphere over the next month.
Right. The main thing is, how do you get homegrown talent to stay here in North America? Mm-hmm. We'd have to get the LCS back to the days where it outperformed Europe in terms of like broadcast and personalities. That's what it would have to be. There were days before EU rebranded as LEC where NA had the personalities, had the broadcast, had the branding, and that's where the eyeballs were going. That's how. And why did Busio and why did JoJo leave? For the branding and for the opportunities. Mm-hmm. If they think they've got a better shot at having a bigger brand and a better chance at performing well at Worlds by going to Europe, then North America needs to make it so that so that future players think oppositely. That's what it comes down to. Is you have to have players believe that North America is their best shot. That's why so many European players were coming over in the first 10 years of the scene. Because North America offered opportunities, branding, money, and Worlds opportunities that Europe simply did not offer. So that's how you do it.
Yeah. Well, I have to agree with you on that. I think like figuring out how to kind of breathe life into the brand that is LCS, into the competition that is LCS, is really where we have to like figure things out. Because we climbed a little bit over recent years, like finally overcoming EU, but it was like slowly concentrating our talent into a few teams. And then those teams busted this year, and now EU is back technically on top, if you want to believe that the G2 series has that merit. And then especially now that we're going to be exporting Busio over there, I shouldn't say that. That feels wrong to say, but now that Busio is going over there, and like just it feels like they're concentrating power in their region across a few more teams now. Like maybe they're going to surpass us because we're really kind of like, what is left for NA?
Right.
But even though we have watched teams or players leave over the last couple of years, we are having a coach technically come back to us. He was still in the LTA last year, but now he's coming back to the LCS as the leagues have separated, in ThinkCard coming to FlyQuest, which I don't know about you guys, but I actually really, really like this. This might be my favorite FlyQuest news for changes altogether so far. It really kind of like I'm happy to see fresh coaches. Because my philosophy is when you have moments like you did with this season and you watch like a roster build over 2 years and suddenly bust, part of that like responsibility is on the coaches. You need to breathe some fresh life in there. So ThinkCard, I think, is someone who's very respectable. But Sandy, starting with you, I kind of want to get your thoughts on bringing him back and what you think it might mean for what's potentially going to be a very budget rebuild roster, and having him at the helm. How that influences things.
Yeah, I think ThinkCard is the perfect coach for a rebuild. I think he is very qualified in doing more with less. And I think this team is going to have less, just across the board. We didn't even touch on the Inspired news, right? Inspired's off the team.
Yeah, no, we didn't. Okay, yeah.
We were saving best for last.
Sure, but like there's no more Inspired. Bwipo's probably gone, so you've got frankly a rookie top laner in Gakgos, most likely. Quad, who he's a top 4 mid in North America for sure. He has peaks. And Masu, who's like top 3 for sure, but like has he's gonna have a new support. So he's gonna have a brand new team basically with like a small core to build around. I think he's one of the few coaches that I see, and I'm like, oh, okay, I actually feel a little bit better about the FlyQuest project next year. When I think I was ready to move on from Nuke Duck and Mythy, and Think Hard to me is basically the guy besides Golden Glue that I am happy with. So I'm good. I'm very good with this. I'm excited to see it. I think he could be the right fit.
So it's very interesting because I would actually say that in the entirety of FlyQuest's existence, this is probably the biggest name signing for a coach that we have ever had.
That's true.
In my opinion. I mean, because think about it. Before, in 2018, 2019, you had Invert and Cop, who, I mean, were known in the scene, and Cop was starting to transition out of his player days into coaching and so on. They both been around for a little bit, but they weren't like big names. They weren't like super known for coaching. And then you got into 2020, where you had Curry and D-Lim, who, again, kind of came out of nowhere, weren't really big names or anything. And then we got into 2021 with He Who Shall Not Be Named and Sharks. And then 2022 came around, and we had... Oh, who was the head coach for 2022? I'm blanking. 2022. Because Sharks still stayed the assistant coach. Spring season. Hold on, I got it. Load. It was Sharks. No, 2023 was Song. It was Sharks and Richard.
Oh, yes.
Sharks became the head coach.
Yes.
Like, at this point in time, I would say, I mean, I guess Song, actually, I guess that's not true. Song was very well known for 2023. So it's the second big signing that we've ever had. I take that back. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm looking at his history here, and I'm intrigued because this is the first time that Think Hard has been on FlyQuest.
Yeah, it is. I'm talking about in terms of just hiring big name coaches. We didn't ever really hire big name coaches, but that's not true. In 2023, we hired Song, who was a big name coach. So, I mean, the good news is you can only head up from what Song did for us in 2023.
Very true.
It's only up from here.
True. I mean, here's the thing, though. You look at this man's history, and it's like, it's a bit of a roller coaster, but you've got him on C9 Challenger, C9 Challenger in 2016. It's saying here that he was coaching FlyQuest in 2017 on his, before. Has Think Hard been on our, roster before?
He may have done Challenger.
No.
Let me see.
Let's see. No, it says Balls, Moon, High, Altec, Lemonation, and Think Hard join. January 9th, 2017.
He was the Cloud9 Challengers coach at the time. That's what it was. And so when they joined LCS, he was the coach.
Okay, I understand now. Cool. Thank you, C9 Challengers, by the way. Then he was on Echo Fox, Clutch Gaming, Dignitas, GG, CLG, and then the very winning NRG. So he's got quite the legacy here in North America. But what do you think he's going to bring to the table for us?
I think he has a good understanding of what he wants to build and how he wants to set up good processes, so to speak. He generally leaves most teams, I mean, unless the team's off themselves like NRG did, right? Or CLG did. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think he typically leaves teams with good processes in place, and teams kind of generally stay solid once he leaves. So I think he's going to come in, and regardless if he stays or not, and he finds success, I think he's going to set things up for success in the future, which is probably a good call. So I actually really, really like this for the legacy of FlyQuest. I think Hard should bring a lot of good for this team, even if you don't see immediate success.
Yeah, good. I'd have to agree. I feel like if you can hold on to him, he's going to build a good culture around him. He's someone that I think is just very level-headed, and as you said, he's got a good, very notable as a coach and a pretty well-known name in North America. But when it comes to FlyQuest legacies, one that is being cut short is Inspired, as we had 2 very strong seasons and has now decided to leave for Lion Gaming. Which the setup for this was or just Lions. I don't know why I called it Lion Gaming, but this setup for this was so interesting because first I heard Jose Dioto to Lions, and I'm like, this is going to be great. I'm happy to see Jose Dioto back in the LCS. And then there's the panic tweet, just verbal, this isn't real. And then we find out why, because Inspired was really who they were gunning for, and by God, did they get him. I've heard that a lot of bag was thrown his way to make it happen. There's also promises of like just a really solid team around them. So right now they've just got Inspired and Saint as Hannah is leaving. I believe Lions.
Henna, 30, and Lions are all gone along with their coach.
leaving.
So yeah, it's a
coach.
full rebuild basically outside of Saint.
Very, very intriguing to see what they build around them. But Sandy, starting with you, how do we feel about Inspired leaving FlyQuest for Lion?
It's not surprising that he's gone.
Yeah.
Like, I know I said a week or two ago, you can't read just body language. But I think the way the interviews were going, the way that I think more people were discussing just the mentality of the team. I had a whole discussion in our Discord about how it turns out, like, and I had missed this, but like there were mental boom issues going back to playoffs, before cross-conference playoffs. I think Inspired is just the kind of player where if he's not playing with absolute perfection around him, then he's not going to be happy. So it's not shocking that he leaves. I think what is shocking is who he's going to. Like, Lion, out of nowhere with all of a sudden the glow up, and like they're going to be contending for top 3, just literally off of this pickup alone, I think. So, yeah, like, I'll be interested to see what happens. But no, I'm not surprised he's gone. I just am surprised that he's going to be on Lion. I really want to see what their bot lane is. Really want to see what that bot lane is.
It's all so mysterious, and I'm sure we'll figure it out. If it was like till we were done recording tonight, and drop everything. Nox, how do we think Inspired ended up on Lion, and where did you think he was going before that was announced?
Well, the rumor currently that I've heard from Toad Amarillo, who's a big streamer personality in like the Spanish scene, is that Lion are aiming to get Smash from T1 Academy. That is who they're aiming to bring in.
That would be crazy.
So you'll have a Saint, like the 2 imports will be Saint in Smash, and then you'll have Inspired in Jungle, and then what I'm very curious about is like, who the hell are you going to paint? Who the hell are you going to pair with Smash? Like, you have to have a domestic support at that point. Like, in North America, support pool is horrible to pick from right now. So, like, I don't know who you're going to pick. Like, who are you getting? Clearly you have the money, so maybe you can buy out, like, I don't know, are you going to pay off Mithy and be like, hey, you come out of retirement and play, or Sven maybe, or you could maybe get Vulcan as well. I don't know, man. Like, is Vulcan's contract even up? You would have to do a buyout for that, and I guarantee you Cloud9 sure as hell is going to put a massive buyout on that. I mean, and granted, maybe Lion's willing to pay. Like, you got Inspired, right? So there's a whole bunch of different questions that you can throw out there and how they want to build this team. Going from where the rumor currently is, I'm not saying, like I said, Smash is not confirmed in any way, shape, or form. That's just a single rumor from a Spanish influencer who generally knows the scene pretty well, and I would give it like 70% credence, right? There's a good 30% that I'm not sure on. And even then, you'd have to find a top laner, which is another very weak point for like domestic player pool for North America, right? So it's like, yeah, you've got a hell of a core in Inspired, Saint, and Smash if that's what the actual 3 are, but I'm very nervous for your top in support at that point because you have very, very slim pickings. If it almost like, did either of you ever play in Tim Seven Houston's like Oracle Elixirs like drafting, like off-season drafting, where we would build teams based off of like where we ranked them, like where we had.
I
like,
cannot say I did. I cannot say I ever have.
Did you ever play in one, Sandy?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
Did you ever play in Tim Seven Houston's and Oracle's Elixirs like off-season drafting games that we would do occasionally during the off-season back in like 2021, 2022, 2023?
Oh, I might have done a couple of those, yeah.
So, like, you know how there was always that one person who was just like, I'm going to slam everything I have into like 3 players. I'm buying S tier, S tier, S tier. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, we got that. Now your remaining players have to be 2 D tier players.
Right.
That's kind of what the Lion build feels like to me, right? Like you slammed a whole bunch of money on 3 great players. You're not getting anyone else for the other 2. So you better hope those 3 are willing to do some massive carrying for those other 2 players.
I mean, like, are you saying Smash is that 3rd S tier player?
Yeah, like and I'm not actually qualifying as an S tier player. I'm just in terms of like how you're doing your import slots and who's available and whatnot. I feel like you're leaving the 2 weak slots in top lane and support as your like remaining domestic options. Because
here's what I'll say: Ayla is out there. He's still available. Zamudo could be something. I mean, remember, Lion really wanted him previously, and now he's finally here. So they must know something we don't. But the fact of the matter is that, like, Ayla is probably the highest tier support in free agency right now. Just based off of his historic success with 100 Thieves. And he's available. And so he's probably not going back to FlyQuest. We know how that went last time. I don't think he wants to return.
That would be a shakeup.
But right now, you know, unless Shopify drops Seos, Cloud9 drops Vulcan, TL's not dropping Core JJ, maybe Disguised and Dig drop Hui and Isles, but I doubt Ayla wants to go to either of those teams. To me, it's like Sentinels and Lion are the landing spots for Ayla. And Golden Glue might be going along to Sentinels. So why not just yoink Ayla and FBI along with him?
I guess it's more of an armchair GM kind of difference mindset, right? Like, if I want to spend my imports on a roll, I think I would rather spend it on top lane for sure, and then I just feel like the support options and like Ayla is fine, he's fine, but to pair him with Smash, I feel like it's almost just not. Like, he will do fine. But I feel like there's better ways of, like, doing that particular build of a team. So, I guess, in theory craft mode, I disagree with how Lion's going on about doing it, but I can see a world where it works, too.
I mean, I have to disagree with you on the top thing. I think that North American top lane talent is present and slept on. I think we had a lot of, like, high potential like players over previous years that were just like kind of pushed down in their progress by way of like what the scene looked like. Like, look at how Tenacity kind of blew out. Look at how Kumo like rose up and fell out. Look at like Philip, like who got a taste of the LCS.
Historically, absolutely. But I'm even right now though, I don't really think there's a top laner. I don't think there's one.
Maybe not. Maybe there's just some random dude, up in Quebec or, over in Chicago, just being unseen because of the lack of systems in North America. Who knows?
I think the best current tier 2 option for top lane is Hoarder, in which case I think he could maybe sneak onto a Disguised if someone picks up Castle, for instance. I think he could be he's bottom tier LCS worthy. and I mean barely bottom tier LCS worthy. I don't think any team wanting to go for wins right now, such as Lion, who's dropping massive amounts of cash, there's no domestic top laner that you can grab right now.
Yeah, it's pretty tough out there. But you know, I'm sure we will get a lot of answers the next week or two about what really is going to flesh out Lion, what is going to finish out the FlyQuest roster for next year, amongst just all the players as pieces move and we lay the playing board for 2026 of League of Legends. So I know I'll be keeping my eye close on Roster Rumble and then getting overwhelmed once people propose 5 different things over one news article, and waiting for the next one. That's just kind of how it always goes. But do you guys have any more thoughts on kind of just off-season FlyQuest? Anything happening in NA here?
The only other thing was Vladdy
Yes.
going to Fnatic once they figure out the buyout for him. SK Gaming's roster is complete. And the only other thing, and God, this could be like another 30-minute conversation, but the leak today that Riot is considering allowing coaches to communicate for small amounts.
Okay.
Like this.
Okay.
This is another whole podcast
I
right
need to
here.
look on the details of that. You know what? Everyone, snap response right now. Sandy, you have 30 seconds on the podium. Give me your initial thoughts about how you feel about it, and yes or no.
So, according to an email sent by Riot Games to professional teams and obtained by Sheep Esports, the company is exploring a rule change that would permit one designated coach per team to communicate with players during limited windows of time in a live game. Designated voice windows illustrated by an example of 3 45-second intervals per game, which the coach could activate at any time. Other people have thrown out what this might look like. You know, the coach might have Fog of War turned on, and so they can't see what's going on with the other team, right? But they could. They do this in Valorant.
Yep.
They do this. Not only do they do it in Valorant, they do it in Valorant because they also do it in Counter-Strike. Also, this is how sports work, by the way. A coach can call timeout and say, all right, guys, we're down by 1 and there's 5 seconds left. Here's the play. I have no problem with this.
Okay, cool.
I have no problem with this, and I think it makes good coaching even more valuable. And maybe we'll finally get to see who the good coaches are. Besides just draft. Ooh.
That's an interesting proposition. Knox, how about you? How do we feel about introducing timeouts?
I'm all over this.
So I do not want it to be a timeout. I do not want pauses. What I do want is I want a limited number of timeouts given in a game, whatever it may be. I'm sure there's some arbitrary number that we can come up with or debate. But what I want it to be is basically a coach will be given a 30-second snippet, maybe even less, of just bam, you have access to the comms, you can speak, you can say whatever you need during that 30 seconds, and then it is cut off again. I think there's so many additions that can be done to this. You can correct player builds. You can tell, hey, you guys are over-focusing on this, whatever it may be. And yes, obviously coaches need to have Fog of War on this whole time. They need to have the same vision as the players. They cannot have any extra information, yada, yada. All that should be obvious. But I think there's so much you can do with that. You can see what coaches are actually doing, what coaches are actually thinking. And I think it would be great for Riot because I don't know, I'm a huge F1 fan, right? So for me, radio messages between teams, GPs and racers or the drivers, or their managers, whatever, the team principals, so on and so forth. Those radio messages are fascinating because it's hey, here's a breakdown. Here's what we're thinking. Here's the analytics. Here's what other people are doing. Here's what this person's doing. Here's what you're doing. Here's how the car's doing. All this information in those tiny little snippets. I think that'd be so easy to make content out of for Riot. I think it'd be awesome to hear and see. So yes, I'm a big fan. I do not want pauses. It needs to be continuous. It needs to be while the game is happening. Coaches can get 20 to 30 seconds. Like, hey, yeah, you still got to play the game, but I can yell at you.
Yeah,
that's what it has to be.
Okay, I think both are very, very reasonable takes. I'm gonna have to say I like the idea, period, blanket, of like having like a micro coaching moment like that, because I think it's something that's very beneficial and lacking in like actual game time for League of Legends. I can see both sides. I think Nox, what you present makes more sense for the pacing of the game, would be good for easy like management of content. And I think like just really potentially might be good for viewership and just keeping the game moving along. On the flip side, if you do timeouts, and this is thinking purely broadcast perspective, that means bam, easy moment to send a 30-second ad. Or if you don't want to do a 30-second ad, I feel like a quick breakdown from the desk is actually really nice. So sometimes they don't get to complete thoughts they're having in the slow moments because suddenly fights break out. So a solid 30 to 45 seconds where they know they can just think, all right, what's the coach saying? What's this? Bam, we're back into the game. I think both would like be pretty good. Either way, the general idea behind it, I'm a big fan of. So lots of interesting things on the horizon for LoL esports in terms of rosters, in terms of how the game is played, in terms of rules. It is an ever-changing landscape. And, you know, I'll say it. I'm actually excited to see what we're getting into with 2026 next year, because we also have some changes of like regions, tournaments. First stand is now 8 teams, all that stuff. So it's going to be very exciting. But for now, this has been Flight Check. So I just want to thank you guys, thank you everyone for tuning in to the penultimate episode of Flight Check. There's no more games. But roster mayhem is continuing, so be sure to follow us on Twitter for all of our instant reactions and thoughts. You can catch the show at Flight Check Crew, myself at Curly_QQ_, Noxwar at Noxwar with 2 R's, and Sandy at SantosDB. Make sure to hop into the Flight Check Discord as well, where all kinds of esports discussion and otherwise takes place. And if you missed any part of the episode, the VOD will be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning. If you're watching that and would like to catch the show live, we'll be broadcasting on one more Monday night right here at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Nox, do you have any final notes before we wrap up?
I just want to give a shout out to you, Curly. You got, for your first and only hosting job on Flight Check, I thought you killed it, man. That was great.
Oh, thanks, man.
I that was really good. Outside of that, yeah, this was our final normal episode of Flight Check for the night.
Yeah.
So, or for the night. Yeah, so we only do one a night.
Oh, you guys weren't tracking? We're doing another episode right after this.
Yeah.
We
But yeah, no, it was our final regular episode of all time. So it was fun. I think it's rather appropriate that we're ending the last normal episode on doing a FlyQuest rebuild, because I feel like that's what a majority of our show always encompasses.
Howdy.
Yikes.
You are so right about that. You know, things end as they begin. Sandy, how about you?
Time is a flat circle. Yeah, my shout-out's also to Curly. Last minute, being asked to host, crushes it, reads all the copy that I thrust in front of him at the last second to perfection. I couldn't have asked for better. I couldn't have done better tonight. That's for sure. And I'm really excited to watch him drop the closeout lines and
oh yeah,
and deliver his closing line.
Oh yeah, oh it's gonna be great.
So shout out to Curly tonight.
I appreciate it. You guys are too kind. Well,
how about you?
For myself,
yeah,
for myself, I'm gonna shout out 2 things. Number 1, I'm gonna shout out SSDs. I've been living in the dark ages, guys. My first solid state drive ever was installed to my computer.
Sorry.
God dang it. My first solid state drive was installed into my computer on Friday night, and my Baldur's Gate didn't crash. It was absolutely astonishing. And then the other thing I want to shout out is you guys for being absolutely wonderful co-hosts, for giving me this opportunity. And then I'm going to throw it back to 88.3 The Sting, the local Cleveland College radio that trained me to be able to pick this up on the fly. That's right. I was a DJ for a college radio many, many years ago. So I'm ready for this. So yeah, thank you to all of those. We'll be back next week for the final episode ever of Flight Check. So for now, stay safe out there, bite your teeth, don't forget to hit the head on the nail, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.